Hello everyone, my name is Prajakta Dhake. I am from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. Today I will be taking a lecture for SYBSc Semester 1. The subject is Animal Diversity 3, which is Paper 1. The chapter that we are dealing with right now is Study of Scoliodon, and this is the third lecture of this particular chapter. The topics that we are going to deal with today is the specialized kind of scales that are present in the sharks or say contractile fish, which is placoid scales, and we will also be dealing with some part of digestive system, that is alimentary canal part of the digestive system. Let's begin. This diagram is going to show you the particular structure of the placoid scales in Scoliodon. Now, when we talk about the placoid scale is a characteristic feature of the contractile fish. You will not find placoid scales in any other kind of fish except for the contractile fish, right? Let's see how it looks like. So, in case of Scoliodon, these particular placoid scales will be present in the oblique rows. Now, if you see the structure, it has two parts. First part is going to be the basal plate, and the second part is going to be the trident spine that is present in it. So, basal plate, what we see is it is a rhomboidal structure and it will be embedded in the skin. Now, which part of the skin? It will be embedded in the dermis portion of the skin. Now, if you see in the middle portion, there is an opening, right? Now, this particular opening is the opening of the pulp cavity. Clear? Now, what is the origin or what is it made up of? This particular basal plate is calcareous in nature and it is made up of calcareous structure, right? Now, let's move to the pulp cavity. This particular pulp cavity that you are seeing here, it is going to contain a connective tissue called as pulp. What does this pulp contain? It contains blood vessels, it is going to contain the odontoblast cells, which are dentine forming cells. It is also going to contain the lymphoid channels in it. It is also going to contain some blood vessels. So, let's move towards the trident spine. If you see the structure of this particular trident spine over here, what you see is there are small channels present, or the canalicules will be present over here. This particular structure is also made up of dentin. The trident spine is made up of dentin and it is going to have the fine channels which are, or the canaliculi present in it. So, this particular structure, or say the placoid scales, are dual in origin. They are of mesodermal origin and they are also of ectodermal origin. Let's see which part is of mesodermal origin. The mesodermal origin part is going to be the basal plate and the trident spine will be, or the dentin is going to be of mesodermal origin, whereas there is one more structure which will be secreted by the dentin. It will be a coating layer and this coating layer is called as enamel or vitreodentin. Now, this vitreodentin is going to be ectodermal in origin. So, we have three structures. One is the basal plate and the other one is dentin. Both are going to be mesodermal in origin, and the third one, vitreodentin, is going to be ectodermal in origin. You will find placoid scale present throughout the body. Okay, they are compactly placed inside the skin. Now, in case of the mouth cavity, these particular scales or placoid scales are modified to form the teeth. So, this was all about the placoid scales in Scoliodon, and okay, the placoid scales also contain nerves in it. There are lymph channels present in it. So, this particular spines are held in position by means of certain fibers. These fibers are referred to as the Sharpe's fibers. Okay, so this was all about the placoid scales. Let's move to the next point. Now, when we talk about a digestive system, it has two parts. We will be studying the digestive system under two heads. The first one is alimentary canal, which is going to start from the mouth and end to the cloacal aperture. Right? So, it is basically the entire gut canal that you find will be referred to as alimentary canal.
Then the second part that we are going to study is associated glands, and these associated glands include all the glands which are going to be helpful or useful in the digestion, which are going to aid in the digestion of the scoliodon. So let's first begin. So the second head that we will be studying is associated glands. Now what are these associated glands? These are the glands that are going to help or aid in the digestion of the scoliodon. Now let's begin with the first part, which is going to be alimentary canal. Now when we talk about alimentary canal, there are few structures that will be present in it. Let's see what are those. The first one is going to be the mouth. Then the mouth is going to lead to the buccal cavity, which will in turn lead to the pharynx. Pharynx will be leading to esophagus, esophagus to stomach, stomach to intestine, and intestine will ultimately lead to rectum, which will open into cloaca, and cloaca is the opening will open to the exterior by means of cloacal aperture. So these are the structures that we will be studying in the. So let's begin with mouth. Now if you see the structure of the mouth, we have already seen that it is present on the ventral side. The structure is going to be crescentric in shape. Now this particular mouth is being covered by the folds of integument, right? Now these folds are nothing but the upper jaw and the lower jaw, or say upper lip and the lower lip. Now this particular mouth is going to open into a spacious cavity, which will be referred to as the buccal cavity. Now it is a very large cavity. It will be dorsoventrally flattened, okay, and this particular cavity has a lining. The mucous lining is going to be rough in nature. Why is it rough in nature? Because there is presence of rough structures which are modifications of the placoid scales. Also, if you see this particular buccal cavity, it is going to open into the next structure, which is going to be the pharynx. Now in the buccal cavity, this particular buccal cavity will be supported by two structures. The upper portion of the buccal cavity is supported by the base of the cranium, whereas the lower portion of the buccal cavity will be supported by basihyal cartilage. There is also a presence of tongue in this particular structure. Now how is the tongue? The tongue is going to be non-muscular and non-glandular, and basically this tongue is the one which is supported by basihyal cartilage. Here you will find whatever about the tongue, and the teeth are present. The teeth will be present in the several rows. We have already discussed that the teeth are going to be homodont and polyphyodont kind of teeth. We know that what are homodont kind of teeth and polyphyodont kind of teeth. Homodont is all of them are going to have similar kind of shape and size, and polyphyodont is like in the lifetime several times these teeth can be broken down and they can occur or they can come back. Okay, now let's move on to the next portion, which is going to be the pharynx. Pharynx is going to be a smaller structure. Into the pharynx there will be openings of the 5 gill slits. Now these openings are referred to as internal apertures, internal branchial apertures. Why they are called as internal branchial apertures? Because they are the internal openings. You have external openings also and you have internal openings also. One more important structure that will be present inside this particular region is going to be the gill rakers. Okay, now what are these gill rakers? These are nothing but the structures which are going to prevent the entry of very small food particles or very small organisms which are ingested into the gill portion. So this will be avoided by means of the gill rakers. There are also presence of a pair of small spiracle will be present over here, but the function of it is not known. Let's move on to the next part. The next part, pharynx is going to open into the esophagus. Now esophagus is going to be a short structure. Now this short structure, although it is very short, it is also going to have longitudinal folds present in it. There will be many longitudinal folds in it. This esophagus in turn opens into the stomach. Now the stomach is very important part over here. It is a J-shaped structure. Okay, it will be divided into two parts. First is cardiac stomach, second one is pyloric stomach. Now this cardiac and pyloric stomach, the way they are placed is going to form a J-shaped structure. So let's see the two parts of the stomach. The first one is going to be the cardiac stomach and the second one is going to be the pyloric stomach. If you see the structure of cardiac stomach in this particular diagram, you will see that it is very wide in space, right? It is a wide structure and it will be also be thrown into several folds. Now this particular stomach or this particular part of stomach is going to be distensible, so it can increase in size according to the amount of food that is entering inside the body. See, you need to understand that it is not going to extend beyond a specific limit. Okay, now this particular cardiac stomach is going to open into the next portion, which will be called as pyloric stomach. If you see both the stomachs over here, you will find that the pyloric stomach is going to be a very narrow tube. Okay, it is small but it is a narrow tube, and this particular stomach does not have any longitudinal folds present in it. Now there are folds present, circular folds will be present at the very much posterior part of the pyloric stomach. There is also one more structure present at the end of pyloric stomach, which is called as bursa enchiana. Now in this particular diagram, if you see where the cardiac stomach and the pyloric stomach meet, there is a structure called as blind sac. The function of this particular structure is not known. Now let's move further. Let's talk about the valves that are present. So there is a valve present in between esophagus and stomach. Okay, the entry of the food from stomach to esophagus to stomach will be guided by means of a valve. This valve is crescentic in nature and it is called as esophageal valve. Second valve will be present in between the cardiac stomach and the pyloric stomach. Okay, this valve is called as sphincter valve. And the third valve will be present in between or at the area where pyloric stomach is going to open into bursa enchiana. This particular valve is referred to as the pyloric valve. Now the next thing that is going to be is this particular stomach, pyloric stomach, is going to open into the intestine. Okay, now intestine, the size of the intestine is also going to be, if you see in this diagram, the size of the intestine is going to be near about that of the cardiac stomach. In this diagram it is shown a bit narrower, but yes, it is a wider tube as the size of the cardiac stomach. So now this intestine, at the very anterior portion of the intestine, there will be two ducts opening. They will be opposite to each other. The first duct is on the dorsal side. There will be the bile duct present, or the bile duct will be opening in this area, and exactly on the opposite side of it, on the ventral side, there will be pyloric duct opening into the anterior side of the intestine. Now this particular intestine is a very characteristic kind of intestine. Now intestines in case of all the sharks are going to have a characteristic feature, which is going to be a scroll valve or a spiral valve. See, in different kinds of shark, different kinds of scroll valves or spiral valves will be present. In case of this particular organism or Scoliodon soracova, what is present is there will be a 2.5 turn will be present. Okay, spiral turn will be present in the intestine, and this is going to be in the anti-clockwise direction. So there is a fold present in the intestine which is 2.5 turns, and it is anti-clockwise in direction. What is the reason of this particular fold? This fold is going to increase the area for absorption. It will also aid in slowing down the movement of the food through the intestine. If the movement of the food is slowed down, there will be more amount of absorption occurring over here. Now the anterior part of the intestine will also be referred to as duodenum because it receives these two ducts over there. Now let's move on to the next part, which is called as the rectum. Now rectum is again a small part in which the intestine is going to open. What is the function of this rectum? It is going to absorb the excessive salts that are present, or it is going to balance the salts that are present. Now this rectum in turn opens into a structure referred to as cloaca. Now we all know that what cloaca is. Cloaca is a common opening for urinogenital as well as the digestive system. Okay, and this cloaca in turn will be opening to the exterior by means of the cloacal aperture. So this was all about the alimentary canal of Scoliodon.
And thank you for listening to the lecture. Thank you so much.